Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lilu nishmasi mimirosi ruspas Mordechai. A what? Mike's not on? Yeah, go. A gutem chodesh, Rosh Chodesh Elul. And I want to tell the Olam, I keep on forgetting on Rosh Chodesh, but I want to remind the Olam, since it's Rosh Chodesh, there's an inyan, hatzlacha, to eat a special Suda today, like to add a little bit to your Suda, because it is a yontif. I've never done this before, but you're going to gain from this. Because I was so impressed by this email, it really touched me. Top 10 email. I decided just to read this one, and that's it, to emphasize this email. It comes with 3 pictures. And let me just give akdama to the email. What? Oh, okay. Yeah. I know this person. I met him a number of times. He's a with-it person. He's a kailul younger man. He learns full-time. And he also does the daf. So that gives it a little bit more of understanding what's going on. It says, Shalom Rebelli, this past Tuesday, Chavav Av, was my MDY first anniversary. Wow, what a year. A year of hundreds of daf in Gemara. It was since Sukkah Daf Chav Ches. It's seriously mind-blowing and amazing. Anyway, so Tuesday afternoon I came to my yard. I was going to head straight out to take care of something when I see my family all peeking out of the window wearing Shabbos clothing. On a weekday, wearing Shabbos clothing. My wife is motioning that I should come in. So I parked and came in, and boy was I surprised. The whole table set up nicely with food ordered from a cafe shop with Slurpees for everyone and dessert. But that's not all. On the table, there's a tablet with a rebellion on it, and an MDY centerpiece, and then a bunch of balloons tied to my chair and streamers hanging on the wall that said 365 made from streamers for anniversaries. See attached pictures. But that's not all. Then came the gift. I opened it up and was really surprised to find a custom-made trophy in the shape of a fire to show the glowing geschmack this brings to my family. With a personal note for my family and MDY logo on it. See attached pictures 2 and 3. I realized how so important it is that one's family should be involved and excited about him learning the daf, and that it is a fundamental part of learning the daf. It gave me such a feeling of backing and being proud that you can't imagine. And of course, it makes the kids look up to such things and want to be like Tati instead of looking up to Shtusim Chas v'Shalom. The main thank you goes to your belly for revolutionizing the Jewish world of Torah and Shmak in such dangerous times. The Birchas Chasima Toiva, Agud Kiben Shior, Simcha Shmuel Solomon. Rabbi Isai, here are the pictures. Here's the trophy. I was so inspired that the wife went out of her way to put this together. And look what it says on the trophy. Mazel Tov, the daf with MDY has truly made a difference in our lives. Thank you for this priceless gift. We love you and so proud. MDY, making a difference. 365. What?
Can you send that picture to all the wives?
That's up to you guys. I'm putting it out here. You know where to... You tell her that there's something going on with Mando, this, that, and then B'der Chagav she sees this. That's how you do it. There's a tablet on the table with the shear going, the Slurpees, the MDY centerpiece. Unbelievable. To me, I was very, very moved by this email, and therefore, it's your gain. We're going to go straight in to the sponsors. No, it's not bad. Mamish unbelievable. A trophy with the etched glass. Koyle Jungerman. Not a guy that doesn't learn anything. He learns the whole day. Koilo sponsored zchus all the new people that joined. Koilo sponsored by Avi and Rachel Kamiansky. I just messaged Avi this morning. He's gone. He's already in America for who knows how long. But Uba Hashemesh, V'zorach Hashemesh, Noam Fix is back. Shkoyach. Mendy is back. We're starting to fill up the front seats. Yishkoyach. The sponsor of the kollel for the week is the Refuah Esther Ben Portona Biton. And Parnasa kollel for the day, Refuah Shlaima, Liam Maimon Ben Jennifer Esther Ilanit. I hope that's how you say it. The Masechta. First sponsor of the Masechta, Eli Stefansky, Baruch Ben Moshe Aaron, and Eli Stefansky Elazar. There will be, I'll show, Be'ez Hashem, if we get there, I'll show another video that has to do with Achdus and guys from the Shir later on Amud Beis, towards the end of the Shir. Linishmas Baruch ben Moshe Aaron, Linishmas Moshe Elazar ben Nal Shalom, and for that hatzlacha b'chol yonah for my children. The second sponsor of the Yosef zchus my son, Yosef Chaim, Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Sara Chana, Refuah Shlaima. And Parnas Chodesh, last day, by Benjy Estie Israel Family in memory of our Zayde Moshe Menora and 3 cousins who were killed in a plane crash. Sara Klein, Ricki Racheli Menora on the 12th Yahrzeit. The neshamos should all have an aliyah. Amen. Parnas Chodesh, Dr. Avrum Epstein in memory of my precious Southern Belle, wife, mother, and grandmother, Rita Gay Epstein. Parnas Chodesh, Benmeleh, Motty Perl Aaron Hirsch. Save him a seat over here. Fine. Maybe he'll show up. To be zoche to make it to Uman Rosh Chana this year. Parnas Chodesh number 4. Eli neshamos Zayde Moshe Menora. Rabbi Yisrael Moshe ben Esther Refuah Shlaima. Amen. By Dan Rab Rubinov in honor of my grandmother's Yahrzeit Rosh Chodesh Elul Benmeleh bas Avrum Aaron. Happy birthday to my former classmate and fellow MD Wire Baruch Bernie Bernfeld. BBB. Triple B. By Chaim Terabello. Woo! In honor of my daughter getting married today. He's mamish one of my best friends, Chaim Terabello. I didn't know. You see, somebody has to somebody. I guess it's a shtachaza. Should have been at the chassan. He came to all my kids' chassan, all 2 of them already. Flew into Chicago. In honor of my daughter getting married today, it should be a binyan aliyah. Amen. Chaim, mazel tov, mazel tov. Rabbi Fishel Tad, Yeshiva Pirchei Shoshanim, honor Rabbi Twersky Shul members who started Simcha. And by the Katz family, Lilu Nishmas, Rabbi Avrum ben Moshe, and MDY sponsors Lilu Nishmas, Nisan Gans's father, Chaim Meir ben Mordechai Gans, whose Yahrzeit is today. We are holding Daf Beis, Amud Beis, all the way in the bottom. Rav Papa, Amaisa. Rav Papa Yazik Leilei, he was busy marrying off his son, Bei Abasura. Interesting story. He's marrying his son. He did a shidduch with his father-in-law. His own father-in-law had a daughter from not related to his son, because otherwise it would be also for his son to marry an aunt. So from another marriage, he had another daughter. He, Rav Papa, knew this girl well, by the shver's house all the time, and he saw this girl. He said, "It's a great shidduch for my son, but it's the shver. You know, you have that pachad of the shver. So azal lemichtav lo Kesubos. So Rav Papa goes to his father-in-law's house, the new mechutin. His father-in-law is going to be the new mechutin, to write a ksuba, to get good nedunya out of him. There should be some good stuff there. Shama Yehuda Bameremar. Chashava Rabbi Yehuda Bameremar heard about this, that Rav Papa is going to his father-in-law. Nofak Osis Chazile. He appeared to Rav Papa. He says, "Okay, let's go. Can I come with you? Could I accompany you? I want to see what's going on here." When they got to the door of Abasura, Havaka Miftar Minei. So Yehuda Meremar, what's the name? Yehuda Bar Meremar asked permission from Rav Papa if he could leave. He didn't want to go in. Omar Lei Neomar Bahadoi. What's going on here? Why didn't you come in? Why don't you already accompanied me all the way here? Why don't you just come in with me? Rav Papa noticed that Yehuda Bar Meremar is uncomfortable to go in. Let me figure this out on my own. Why are you uncomfortable? Mishum da Rav Yehuda Shinina. You're the sharp one, right? That's Rav Yehuda's name. Shmuel always called him Shinina. Loitehevi ba'abure achsanta. Don't be a witness to people being ma'avir, taking away Yerusha from one to the other. Don't be there. Don't be part of it. So you don't want to come in because you might witness the shver giving nechasim to his daughter, and that's no good. He's taking away Yerusha from the sons and giving it to the daughters. That what? Afilu mibra bisha lebra tava. And this is, Rabbi Isai, a very important halacha. It's negeh to us also. If somebody, let's say, has a kid that's off the derech, he's upset at this kid. So I'll take him out of the Yerusha. The Gemara says you don't take a kid out of the Yerusha, even a bad kid. They say, oh, this kid is such a Talmid Chacham, let me give him double Yerusha. Let me maneuver stuff. No, what the Torah says, you give, you give. The lo yediyah, and the Gemara says the reason. The lo yediyah maizaro nafek minei. Nobody has any idea what the future generations hold, who's going to do tshuva, and who's really going to be the real gadol, and who you're going to have the most nachas from. You never know. The kolshkein mibara lebarta. So now we have to do chazara here. The lo yediyah maizaro nafek minei. You don't know what kind of children this supposed not good kid is going to have. And Benmeleh, you don't play Rebbeinu Shalom over here. Don't you decide who gets the Yerusha and who doesn't get Yerusha. You do what the Torah says. The B'char gets 2 parts, the other boys get 1 part. But certainly, V'kolshkein mibra lebarta. L'chayra, you have no business taking Yerusha from a son and giving it to a daughter. Okay, today's different, but so Nachamal. He's going to witness Rav Papa squeezing his shver, so to speak, to give Rav Papa's son more nechasim, and that's taking away from Abasura's sons and giving to the daughters. Yes, he's still alive, but it's from the Yerusha. Somebody came over to me last night because we were talking about this, like, oh, it's my Yerusha, what are you buying it for? He says, like, forgot it was, like, oh yeah, was it Yosef? Somebody told me. Forgot it was. Somebody said that his brother-in-laws tell the shver all the time, stop gambling, you're gambling at Yerusha away. You know, like, the guy's still alive, but hey, they feel like it's their money, it's theirs, they're entitled to it. Okay, typical kids. Hi Nami, says the Gemara, Hi Nami Takanta the Rabbanani. No, what Rav Papa was doing is part of the Takanas Chachamim, he was doing the right thing. This is what we had yesterday, that we want the father to give his daughter a lot so that people should marry her, should go easy in shidduchim. Says Yudah Bamiremar Omerle Hanamili Medaite Lasuyi Nami. Says Yudah, I don't want to come into the house over there and help you force your father-in-law. If your father-in-law gives on his own ratzon, okay, because he wants to make it easy in the shidduchim, givaldik. But you want me to help you out? That not. Can't help you out. I didn't tell you to come and help me. When did I ever say you should try to convince my father-in-law? I said just accompany me, be there. When I just walk up there, if I sit down in front of your father-in-law, that itself is going to squeeze your father-in-law because of the covet that he's going to give Yehuda Bamiremar. I guess he was a known personality, and imagine you show up with Reb Chaim Kanievsky at your shver's house. Shver's not going to be, no, I don't want to give. You give nicely. Says the Gemara, Achbiyeh. Rav Papa convinced him. He forced him with words. V'al. And Yehuda Bamiremar, he was successful in convincing Yehuda Bamiremar to show up with the shver. So, Yehuda Bamiremar was worried that he's going to be forcing the shver to do something that he shouldn't be doing. Ishtik v'Yosef. He kept quiet the entire time, and he sat there. Sovar. So the father-in-law, Abasura, thought, why is he so quiet all of a sudden? He's probably really upset at me. He doesn't like what I'm giving. So, based on his shtika, he gave him everything. There's a Gemara, I couldn't find it today. I looked all over. I found in Makkos, on Daf Amud Aleph, in a Rashi, he brings this shiltas, but I thought it was a Gemara. So, it might not be a Gemara. I couldn't find it, but whatever. I didn't look that long. But he brings the Rav Safra. I thought maybe it's in Brachas or something, if somebody remembers. But it's in this Rashi, Daf Chavdal and Makkos, you can look it up. Rav Safra was once in the middle of Kriya Shema, and somebody said, "Sell me your donkey, I'll give you 100, whatever it was." And he was in the middle of Kriya Shema, so he didn't answer. So the guy said, "I'll give you 200." And he still does 300. He keeps on negotiating with himself. And finally, when he was done with Kriya Shema, Rav Safra said, no, don't worry about it. I'll give it to you for the 100. I was just doing Kriya Shema, like the Gemara wants to say that he was so careful with his words. Where was this? Akopanim. It just reminded me of that somebody's quiet, he starts negotiating with himself. The guy, Yehuda bar Merima, didn't say a word. But the Shver thought, and in his mind, okay, I'll give you everything I own. Says the Gemara, what's going on? I gave everything I own, and you're still not saying a word. You should know I'm like a shvuah. I emptied my bank account here. What do you want from me? Why are you still upset at me? So Yehuda bar Merima said, if it was up to me, forget it. The original, whatever amount you gave in the beginning, you said $100. Even that, don't give. It's against my what I want. I'm just sitting here. I'm doing Rav Papa a favor. I'm not upset at you. I don't want you to give all your nechasim. Oh, so could I take it back? If you're not even upset at me, I would have never given every dime that I own. No. Once you said it, it's not a good idea to take it back. You said, you're right, halachically you can take it back, but words are words. And it just reminds me, I was talking to Donnie, who's not here now, I don't think. There's a minig in Eretz Yisrael, I think it's a minig ra. When anybody that's tried to buy an apartment here in Eretz Yisrael knows. A word is not a word. Like people say, yeah, I'll sell it to you, and then you even sign a document, and then tomorrow, no, I want more money. What happened to a word? Here, a word is a word, you have to keep your word. Even words, forget about signing. Over here, it's a terrible thing. So somebody has to do something about it. It's like, it doesn't pass Yidden to act like this. No? You guys know what I'm talking about? In real estate, it's nervayin. It's like, look, no, I decided to sell to somebody else. Last minute, no. What happened to halacha? What happened to menschlichkeit? What happened? Okay, fine. But I just want to point out, the Ramah says over here, very interesting, this is important to us also. The Ramah says not to squeeze your mechutim for money. Because if you do, it's like you're marrying a woman for her money. Then you're showing you're marrying her for the money, and they have a banim muganim. So if you sit there at that initial begisha, what is it called? That meeting that you have with the mechutin. You say, listen, new efshe adira, efshe this, and you start that. It's bad. It's not a good thing. He says. Come, we saved you a seat, Aaron. Right over here. All right, Bekitzer, to be careful with your words. It says in the Gemara, Shavyu nafshach. I can take it back. I didn't sign a document. I said I'm going to give everything I own. Everything you own. That's not a lot of money. Everything he owns. Don't take it back. It's not kedai. Shaila. If the woman, the wife, you could also take that paper. It's been there for a few days. I don't know who put it there. Oh, yeah, but we're going to be here. We're starting today, the koil here. Yeah. Somebody put out that there's going to be a minyan 9 o'clock. No, we're starting here. Okay. Yeah, take it off for me. Well, until we get kicked out tomorrow. We'll start. We'll see what happens. Okay. Here, a woman, for whatever reason, she sells her ksuba to her husband, to her own husband, she sells it. In the ksuba, you have the nedunya, you have everything else, she sells it. But in the ksuba, you have ksubas bonim dichrin, you have different tanoi ksuba, different things that are in the, it's not just the 200 that's in the ksuba, there's other stuff. Question is, yesh la ksubas bonim dichrin, or ein la ksubas bonim dichrin. Did she sell the ability of her sons to inherit everything that she brought into the marriage, or by her giving up the ksuba, selling the ksuba, let's say she was desperate, she needed money, whatever it is. She sold the ksuba to her husband, she sold the whole pack, it's a package deal, it's everything, even the ksubas banim dichrin. Says the Gemara, Omalei Rava, v'ti boylach meicheles. Why are you jumping to an interesting case of a woman selling her ksuba to her husband? That's very rare, that a wife should do a business deal with her husband. What's more common is a wife being meichel her husband, saying, listen, I know you're not doing well. Don't worry about it. If we ever get divorced, if you ever die, I'm meichel ksuba. Take it easy. That's a lot more common. Omerlei, no, you didn't understand. What I'm saying is stronger. Over here, there's a tzad to say that she was forced, she mamish had a oinus. It was against her will, but she really was desperate for money for whatever reason. Damina kiman de kamachula ma'uchle ba'uchla. it's as if she got hit 100 times with a uchla. I did my own little picture over here. Here's a whip with an uchla. I added a uchla. Uchla is a weight, like a small piece of metal at the end of the whip. So you imagine you get whipped with this whip, but at the end you get the zets. I just saw a whole video of a guy getting hit with so there was a lawsuit, the guy getting hit with an antenna, a TV antenna. So they were showing that because the top part of the antenna sticks out a little bit, so that part caused the most damage to the whole whack. He got whacked. It's a little bit of thing, a little red, but that little piece like just blew up and whatever. They're suing for a lot of money, cops, whatever. So this is much worse. This is like it's not even, it swings and it's a piece of, so man, she got hit 100 times. In other words, even though she got hit 100 times, she has such an oinus, nevertheless, she's mafkia, you were mafkia the ksuba, she doesn't get a ksuba. So if she's meichel on her own, certainly. So that's why I said, that's why I said that she was forced with money. I'm going on the furthest side. She was such a oinus, tremendous oinus, like getting hit 100 times. And even so, with the big oinus, she loses everything. She can't say, well, I was an oinus, you should still pay me. There's a tzad to say that. One of the tzdadim is that she loses her ksuba. So certainly if she was meichel and nobody forced her to be meichel, she didn't get hit 100 times, certainly she should lose her ksuba. I'm going on the worst of the worst, says the Gemara. Amarav Epstein, okay, new thing. Amarav Epstein, moicheres ksuba la'acherim, not to her husband. If she sells her ksuba to a stranger, yesh la ksubas banim dichrin. So over here, Rava says a chiddush. Selling the ksuba to a stranger, she's only selling a little bit of it. She's not selling the whole thing. She's saying that if her husband dies, then she gets the ksuba, then he's buying that from her. Again, she's going to be alive. Her husband's going to die. She deserves the ksuba. It's like they do this today, right? People buy insurance policies. If the guy dies, if my husband dies, you'll get his insurance policy that he owes me the 200 zuz, you'll get that. But what if she dies? That she didn't sell. She's only selling the zchus if he dies. So Memela, the bottom dichrin, the part that has to do with her dying and her sons yarshin her, that she didn't sell. And now Rashi keeps on sticking this in, and this is a big part of the sugya. This idea of zilzal. She was mezalzel in the ksuba. Was she? How do you say zilzal? Not embarrassing. The disgracing the ksuba. Okay, thank you, Doug. Disgracing the ksuba. So she's not disgracing this ksuba. Why? The Gemara explains. My taima zuzi ansua. This is coming to say to take you away from your having, and maybe she's disgracing this whole ksuba. She's belittling it. Oh, that's even a better word. I like belittling. She's belittling the ksuba. So she's belittling them, and her sons don't deserve it. No, she was forced. They put a gun to her head. She's getting whacked. She needs money. Moicheles ksuba, so another halacha. If she's moichel or ksuba, not selling, she's moichel a baila. Ein lo ksubas bottom dichrin. My taima achuli achilta. Over here, there is a zilzal, there is a mockery, there is belittling. She was mezalzel in her sons. She said, I don't care about my kids. Get out of here. Let's put this over here. Doesn't block you. Say it.
Only for kinyan in the marriage came by her selling it, so how does it belong?
What? Again? What?
She sells her ksuba to her husband.
Yeah.
So it goes back to him.
We're not talking about the husband here. We didn't get to the husband yet. Rava started a new thing. Lacherim and mechila to the husband. Yeah.
A kinyan that comes in that while she's married goes to her. Don't go to her.
No, it's her stuff. It's her stuff. It's her ksuba. Her ksuba. It's not that she found it in the street. Yeah, it's still hers. She's allowed to sell her nichsim melog and stuff like that. Or whatever things that came in. It's hers. She didn't pick it up during marriage. This is before marriage. Okay. Now by Rava comes Rava and asks the question that we had before. Now we have two halachas. selling her ksuba to a stranger, being moichel her ksuba to her husband. What about the third case, selling the ksuba to the husband? Again, she's not selling the whole ksuba, she's selling that if the husband dies first, he doesn't have to pay her. There's other things in ksuba. Is it kemecheres lacherim dami? There's no zilzul. Or kemecheres labala dami? There is a zilzul. Says Gemara Baza, the Abaya, how the Pashto, after he asked the question, he answered it. Mecheres ksubas labala kemecheres lacherim dami. I never understood these kind of Gemaras. Like, it doesn't explain what he asked a question, and then he said, okay, he answered. In other words, it made more sense to him to say that it's like selling to a stranger, and therefore she doesn't lose the ksuba. It's not a zilzul in the ksuba. Mazar Ravidi Barabit. Mesa, question. From a far-fetched case, the Gemara wants to say it's similar to this case. This is a case from Yavamas. Mesa, ein Yarshim Shazeh, ben Yarshim Shazeh, Yarshim Ksubasa. Is it Yavamas? Or I made it up. What does it say here? Hey. Yeah, Yavamas. Fine. Yarshim Shazeh, ben Yarshim Shazeh, Yarshim Ksubasa. What happened? The famous case that we discussed a lot in Yavamas, that her husband went to Medinas Hayam. Her husband left, and she wants to get married. She's desperate to get married. He hasn't showed up 20 years. Eid Echad comes and says that her husband, I saw the husband dead. She's allowed to trust Eid Echad. Why? Because if she doesn't do a good job verifying his testimony, she's going to get punished. How many things? 19, what was it? 16, 19, whatever it is. Okay, Chazar. Now, it says over there, the guy shows up. The original husband shows up, so she has to get divorced from both husbands. And then we say, Yarshim Shazeh, ben Yarshim Shazeh, Yarshim Ksubasa. Now, it says over there that she doesn't get a ksuba, and then it finishes saying, and by the way, the Yarshim don't get a ksuba. So if you don't remember how many things, then you might not even remember the whole sugya, but okay, I think you will remember this. We already said she doesn't get a ksuba, so of course, they don't inherit the ksuba if she doesn't get a ksuba. Papa, ksuba is born different. We're talking about not the ksuba, that she doesn't get, but what about her sons? Her sons from both marriages. She has sons from both. They should get the ksuba as bottom different. That they also don't get. Says the Gemara V'amai. Isn't it similar to our sugya? What do we say? That when she's forced, there's a gun to her head. It's like she got whacked with this whip. She really needs money. She's so desperate. So there's no zilz in the ksuba. Therefore, she's not moichel the ksuba. She still gets the ksuba. What about over here also? Same kind of svara. Hachanami leime yetzer answer. She really wanted to get married. So she relied on a testimony of one aid. Is it so bad? Why should she lose her ksuba for that? It should be the same kind of idea by us. There should be a bottom difference. She should get something. Says Gemara Hazan Knasu, the Kansur Rabbanon, based on that whole sugya, that we had to lay it on with 19 things, 16 things, whatever it is, more than 10 punishments that she gets if she messes up. Here's Eid Echad. Do what you want with it, but you're going to have to verify, because if you don't verify, your sons are going to lose out, you're going to lose out, everything's going to go wrong. So you're going to make sure 100% that what he's saying is true, and then only after that you're going to get married to the second guy. Yosef Rabbi Bar Chanina Kamei Rav Chizda, Yosef Kamei Mishmei Rabbi Elazar, said in the name of Rabbi Elazar, Mecheles Ksubas Labala Ein Lo Mezonos. Mezonos, says Rashi on the spot, Mezonos is in the Torah. So it can't be that mezonos that we're talking about. That you have to support, right? Share ksus v'ayna. It's either share, it's ayna. What? Yeah, but we said maybe it's ayna. There was one man. Okay, fine, whatever. It's in this pasuk. Share ksus v'ayna. Lo yigra. So even if she's moichel ksuba, which is the rabbanon, doesn't absolve the husband of mezainis. So it says Rashi, we're talking about the mezainis of an almana. The husband died, and the sons are obligated to support her. But if she's moichel ksuba, and this is a t'nai in the ksuba that after the husband dies, you have to support the wife, that she loses. Amalei, you'll have the kamesh leimish medir gavirabba. And if you wouldn't have said it in the name of Rabbi Elazar, have aminalach meishiv ra tachas toiva leitamush ra mi beisai. What's the saying in English? No good ever goes.
No good deed.
No good deed ever goes unpunished. Mamish over here. What did she do? She's moichel ksuba. She did a favor to the husband. and you're going to take that favor and use it against her and say you don't even get support. Yosef Rav Chia bar Amigabayu, he's sitting by them. Osahu Gavra, the Shchiva Rusasoi. Tragic story. His Kala died after the Erusin, before Nisuin, and he wanted to know, is he obligated to bury her? Maybe the Shver. He was never married to her. Amrilei, they told him, you know what, it's a good idea. Zilkvar, bury her, you'll come out cheap. Why? Because either you're going to have to give her to the family 200, or bury her. I think it's cheaper, just bury her. But we learn in the Brayso says Rav Chia, Ishtei Arusa, lo yoinem v'lo mitamela. It says in the pasuk, Kim l'sheirei akaroiv elav. That has to be kirvas basar. That has to be relations in order for a kohen to be mitama. You're not mitama to your arusa, to your kala. V'chein hi lo yonenes v'lo mitamela. We brought this Rashi a number of times. Rashi says a woman has no isser to be mitama. Even if she's a kohen, she's allowed to be mitama. Okay, it's talking about something else. Meisa ni yarsha. If she dies, he doesn't inherit her. Meisu goyvek subasa. If he dies, she gets a ksuba. Time of the meisu, says the Gemara, but that's only because he died. Ha-mesa he, but if she dies, ain't lo ksuba. So why are you telling me now that you better bury her, and that you're burying her instead of the ksuba? Why? Ain't lo ksuba? You don't. What does ain't lo ksuba mean? That he doesn't have to bury her. That's what ain't lo ksuba, the taich of ain't lo ksuba. If she dies, what are you going to deposit the ksuba in her grave? No, ain't lo ksuba means he doesn't have to bury her. So why did they tell this guy that he has to bury his kala? Why doesn't he have to bury her? Because in the ksuba it says, okay, when you get married to somebody else, then you'll take what it says over here. Arusa shemesa ein lo ksuba. Again, what does ein lo ksuba mean? He doesn't have to bury her. A kala who dies, the chassan doesn't have to bury her. Amud Abaya says Abaya didn't like this. Why? Because we just finished saying this pshat. We already explained this. So he says, Amud Abaya, Zila Amrle, tell him, Shkila tibusach, take your favor, Shadia Chizri. It's like a guy who says over a pshat and then you find it in the art scroll. Like, okay, shkoyach, peeked over there and then you tell me a pshat. What are you telling me pshat? It's Rabbi Shaya that says the pshat. You take your favors, throw it on the thorns. If I think of Rabbi Shaya, the Shemaita B'Bavel. Okay. Says we just turned to Amud Beis, new sponsor in honor of Yankee Baum and Moshe Horn. Bracha hatzlacha. And the zchus, being able to support Limud Torah and to finish learning Shas with the Rebbe Eli. It says in the Kesuba, the girls that you're going to have for me, Rav Tani. So we have L'chayra. We're starting off thinking that we have this machlekes. It turns into something slightly different. That the boys have to support the girls until they get married. V'levi Tani ad the tigburon, until they become a boigeres. Boigros. What age is boigros? Till 12 and a half. Support till 12 and a half. 12 and a half years old, they're on their own. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. L'Rav, afagav the bogar, Levi, afagav the insiv. Both of these things, becoming a boigeres and getting married, removes a girl from her father's domain. So if it removes the father's domain, then she's on her own. So why would one argue on the other? They should both agree to each other that either, whichever comes first, marriage or bagrus. Says the Gemara, Elo, Bogar v'lo insiv v'lo bogar, right. One or the other. That's it. She loses her mezainis once she becomes 12 and a half, or she gets married. If she got engaged before she became 12 and a half, according to Rav says marriage. Oh, you have to get married. Arusa is not marriage. Says the Gemara, Rashi points out that Levi had his own brises, just like Reb Chia and Reb Shaya had their brises. They were based on the Shisha Sizra Mishnah. He also had his own. Says Rashi. It doesn't say b'masnisa. In the brisa, in his brisa, he was the author of his own brisa. That what? Ad tigbiron v'imte zmanehoin din nasvan. Until the point that they get married. He points out marriage. It's not about getting engaged, erusin. It's about nesuin. Says Gemara Tarti, Eloi Tigbiron, Oi Yimte. What? So the Gemara just asked on this. What? You need both? You need bagrus and marriage. That we said before. It's one or the other. Tarti, you need two. Stam in the wording. Okay, Eloi Tigbiron, Oi Yimte Zmanei Nesava. It's one or the other. You're right. Says Gemara Ketanoi, like we had a Machlokes Tanoi. Ad Moshe Abbas Nizoinus. When do you have to support the daughter? Acheta Ares. Until you can take that to slide off. It's not again now. Mishum Rebbe Lazar Amru Acheta Bagger. Here we have that Machlokes. Erusin or Bagrus. Tony Rav Yosef. Adi Yehevyon until there's a Havaya. So here's the famous pasuk. V'yatzim Beis v'holcha v'hoisol ishacher. It's Havaya. When she goes to be with a man, what does that mean? Iboilu, havai de erusin or havai de nesun. I don't know what that means. Erusin nesun, teiku. Omer Rav Chizda Rav Yosef. Mishami alach minei de Rav Yehuda. Did you ever hear, Rav Chizda asked Rav Yosef, did you ever hear from Rav Yehuda, halacha, arusa yesh lo mezoinus, ein lo mezoinus? Does the chassan who's engaged in those days, the real erusin, gives her a ring, arusa, but then they take like a break up to a year, does he have to support her or not? I know this, I didn't hear, but I could tell you from logic, less law. He doesn't have to support. Why? That the whole point is that the reason why that a father has to support his daughter, or you support the daughter after the father dies, is that she shouldn't have bizyonus. Okay. Well, very good. You're saying your own logic. I have my own the reverse logic. Who says your logic is better than mine? I'll say, I'll say she does get mizaynas misvar. Why? Because it's very possible that at the end of the day, he won't want to marry her. He'll find some mum. Vigidamri. And he doesn't want to stamp throw out his money. Vikid Amri, the opposite. The whole thing in the reverse, same thing. I didn't hear the halacha misfar isla. She should get and he told him the opposite svar. If you didn't hear misfar lesla, she shouldn't get the irsala nichle the titzel. Says Gemara Simin the Gavri Sok Zorov Meyano v'yivma shni arusa banusa. Made a little chart here, in case it helps anybody. Sak Zarov is in the center, and that's the names of the people. Shin is for Rav Sheshes, Kuf is for Shlakish, Zayin is for Lazar, Reish is Rava, Pei is Rav Papa. Sak Zarov. Now, if you want to remember who said what, all you have to do is, you have to remember the 5 things on the left. Miano, Yibma, Shnia, Arusa, Nanusa. Okay? Remember that, and then you know Sak Zarov. And all 5 shilas will be clear to you. Okay. Listen, I don't understand anything about memory, so this means nothing to me. This means, yeah, it's great. Everybody can remember this, besides me, because I don't remember anything else. But you guys probably understand how this works. So, somebody sent me an email today that he heard that I said I don't have a good memory. I should try zichru. The zichru problem. That's what Levi Friedman uses. That he read out on that call. I saw him here before. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Boy many Rav Sheish is here. Yishmak Kash is here. Shilas. Mime'enes yesh la mezoinus. The first one is miana. What's a mime'enes? If a girl, young girl, Ktana, her father dies, her mother can't support her. She doesn't want her to be stama prutza. So she marries her off to a guy. She has the right to be mimayin, to absolve the marriage, to say, I don't want to be married to this guy. She has to go in front of the two and say, mimayin is b'cha, I don't want you. Now, a beautiful shayla. When a girl gets married, she loses her mezainis from her father. She's no longer in his domain. But this girl, was she married or not married? She was married for 3 years. But then she did miyon, so retroactively, she annulled the whole marriage to begin with, so she was never married. Or maybe no. Maybe the fact that she was married once, that's it. She loses her mezainis. We learned it. Almana bebeis avia. Beis avia means that she's an almana when she never left her father's house, meaning she was only in Arusa. Ugrusha bebeis avia, she got a divorce when she was still an Arusa. V'shoimeres yavam bebeis avia, and she is a yavama, or she was about to be yavama in the house of her father when she was Arusa. Yeshla mezainas. She has mezainas. She gets mezainas. If she's still in her father's house, she has mezainas. Now, pay attention. He's not saying anything different than we just said. But it says, when she's engaged, she has mezainas. That's exactly what the Tanakama said. Yeshla mezainas. He doesn't add anything. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yudayin Tanakama. Says Gemara, Elolav me'enes ikibinayu. No, this is our shaila. This is our proof. Why would Rabbi Yehuda argue? Because he's arguing in a different case. He's arguing in the case of Me'enes. The Tanakama Sovar Isla, Rabbi Yehuda Sovar Lesla. Tanakama says the Me'enes has mezainas because she was never married. We look at it as if she annulled the marriage to begin with. She was never married. Mele she gets mezainas. Rabbi Yehuda says no. The point is she was married. I don't care that you annulled it, but once you get married, it's like I don't know, like somebody. It's not a psula anymore. You're nesua, finish. You lose your mezainas. Barish lakish. Bas yivama yesh lemezainas. Oh yeah, lemezainas. I had a little fun this morning. Welcome back, Noam Fix. Here he is. So we have a guy married to a woman. Back to Yavamas, and take a look. If you never learn with us Yavamas, check out how the charts work in Yavamas. Then he goes sideways. You see, I really didn't know he was going to be here, so I thought I could do this when he's not here.
You got the message.
So she falls liyibum to another bald man. This guy Shimon, who happened to leave the other day to America. Fine. She falls. So she's a shemer. She falls liyibum to him. What happened was, look how nicely he goes and he's married to her, and they produce a child. It's the daughter of a yavam. Okay. They have a daughter. Now, it happens to be that this guy, Shimon, has another wife. And that wife had a son, Yossi Klein, from Muncie. Now, Shimon goes bye-bye. So the shaila is, does Yossi Klein have to give mezainas to his, she's not even related to him, or a stepsister. Yeah, half-sister. But she is the daughter of a yavam, and maybe she has the responsibility for her is actually you. No, I'm fixed. No. The guy that went sideways. The first guy. So now that I'm here, we have 1 minute. I want to show you this video that I got this morning. This, Rabbi, is unbelievable, and this I only chapped after I did this chart of Yossi Klein. Yossi Klein is a chassid who lives in Muncie. He's a big part of the shir. He invited 2 people from the shir who he only met after he was doing the shir, the Sanal Gans and my partner, Benjy Friedman, to come for Shabbos. Benjy Friedman lives in Chicago. Benjy Friedman flew his entire family to go to Yossi Klein's house for Shabbos. But Yossi Klein doesn't have enough room in his house for Shabbos. So what does Yossi Klein, the Machnas Oirich, do? Check this out. It's unbelievable.
Du hast die Date Zadig, was gemacht hat, die Sache, so wir können öffnen.
He put an RV in the front of the house.
Lights arbeiten, alle die draußen. Aber die Truck, aber
the air conditioner.
They switch du, kannst du Sarama herausmachen.
Yeah, okay. The kids, 2 Litvaks, 2 Litvish guys. I know Benjy Friedman doesn't want to be called a Litvak, but his father's a serious Litvak. He became, Haimish later on. But the Chazarchim, stop, come to my house. We'll farbrang. I don't have room. We'll get an RV. So I called up Nasal Gans this morning. I said, "No, how was the RV?" He said, "It was great, but I want to tell you one thing." And he says, you could tell the Olam, I promise you that I'm not exaggerating one word. He said, that's what he said. Yossi Klein sat on Shabbos for 5 hours and learned with his son the 7 daf of Gemara of that week. He does Chazar on Shabbos. He said he was sitting there bahasmada, and he does this every single Shabbos. So you should just know, it's not Stam that he does Chesed. He's holding with the daf, 7 daf Gemara in one Shabbos with his son. Unbelievable. Okay. So now that we know about Yossi Klein, let's continue the thing. So here's the chart. Go back to the chart just for a second. So now you have this daughter, the little girl whose responsibility is it? Is it the late husband on the left, Reuven, or is it her own father, Shimon? But the father, Shimon, he's not a real father. Genetically he's a real father. But he stepped in to be a Yavam to take over his dead brother's place. He's L'Hakim Shem L'Achiv. So maybe it's Reuven that's responsible and not Yossi Klein, not the son of Shimon. It should be responsibility somewhere else. That's the Shailer. Bayrish Lakish. Basi Yavama Yeshlam Mezainis or Yelam Mezainis. Does Yossi Klein, does the kid from another marriage have to support his half-sister who's the daughter of a Yavam and a Yavam? It happens to be that Shimon, who steps in to marry the Yavama, doesn't have to give her a ksuba. The ksuba comes from Reuven. And then we had the whole Shiloh there, because actually Shimon inherits everything from Reuven. He gets his okay, fine. Less law. Less law. Yossi Klein is not obligated because now it falls to Reuven's. Even the Isla Merishon. The less law, Merishon, if Reuven is ani, he doesn't have money to give her ksuba. They said, okay, let Shimon do the ksuba, so there also. There's no mezainis in the ksuba. To support that little girl is not in the ksuba, so it's as if he's poor. So if he's poor, Shimon has to take care of it. Who's Shimon? Shimon is gone. Shimon is no longer alive. Yossi Klein has to take care of it. Misheni is law. Take Rabbi Isai, a good chodesh, a wonderful day.